Welcome back to the Artie Lange Show. Look who's here. Real funny comic, Geico, Guy Court, Chappelle Show, Bochetti's father, The Wire.
I'm not going to claim
Stand up.
I'm not going to claim Boschetti.
What? Now wait. Donnell Rawlings is here. Explain what happened with the Boschetti. How did you get that job? To play Bochetti's father in Hubby Man.
It was like
no one's asking you.
It was a situation. Well, for me to play his father, it was a huge casting call. It went East Coast, West Coast.
Wow.
They even went Midwest looking for new talent, and they could not find a person that would own up to being his dad. So, and this was like right when Barack Obama started campaigning.
I was going to say the decision to make an African-American man is very, very controversial and edgy.
But we worked here, and when I raised Mike,
edgy.
I told him to use a race card in any situation.
You do that, and you admit to doing that, and you do it well. And why not?
I admitted to using a race card, but I also admitted that the race card is not as powerful as it was in the '60s. You know what I'm saying? Now with the African American president, it don't. I mean,
there's not as much white guilt. I think white people feel look, we elected
guilty.
a president for you. So.
They're not feeling no guilt at all. I went into a place and I even did my most radical facial expressions and everything. I said, "Oh, I see what's going on here. It's because I'm black." Somebody said, "You're absolutely right," and they gave me my card back and told me to get out the bar.
Get out the bar.
Yeah, it doesn't work. It doesn't work anymore.
Yeah. Well, listen, how well do you know Scarface, the rapper? I mean, he came up to me in Cleveland and said, we got to call Donnell.
No, my question is, how well do you know everybody?
You're
like the only person I know. You get street creds everywhere. I could be in Japan. They be like, "Yo, you mean to tell me you know Artie Lange?" I'm like, no, they don't say it like that. They say, "You know,
well, it's very nice.
Yeah, that's really not speaking Chinese, but it's my impression. They said, "You know, Lang," and I was like, "Yeah, everybody knows."
That's a very flattering impression.
Yeah. Now that was a weird night.
No, Scarface comes up to me at a hotel in Cleveland and said, and listen, you know, I know as much rap as any other morbidly obese white guy who's 46. And I said to him, oh, yeah, I remember the Ghetto Boys. And he said, I'm a fan of yours. I said, thanks. He goes, you're a comic. Do you know Donnell Rawlings? I said, sure. I think he's hilarious. And he goes, let's call him. And he called you.
No, the funniest thing is that he continues to promote me anywhere. He could be in church, right?
He loves you.
You know Donnell Rawlings. But he loves you, too, because he, I don't know if it's even politically correct to say this, but when I talked to him later, I said, yo, I got to say it like this. I said, you F with Artie. Like, that's a... You F with Artie. It's an African American greeting, like you like him, right? And then I said, you F with Artie. I said, I F with Artie. He said, Artie is and he called you his N-word.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
And it was like, when he said that, I felt so proud that I even knew you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I was like, that's my N-word too.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, thank you. I mean, I that's all I've ever wanted to be.
But you know how interesting it is to get a call from Scarface?
It was very surreal. I mean, we're literally sitting in a hotel in Cleveland, waiting for a car to go to the airport on those miserable weather days. He did a gig the night before. I did a gig the night before. I was like, what are we doing? He told me, though, he must be doing well. He's going to retire. He tells me he golfs all day. He's like,
you know what's so funny that you said that? Because if you know Scarface, you know him from one of the most radical, groundbreaking
the Ghetto
rap
Boys.
groups. The Ghetto Boys. This
sure.
week, Halloween came on the weekend. Crooked officer, crooked officer.
That's right.
You know, they
were political. Yeah,
they were super political. I bought a African cloth dashiki when they were. You know, I was pumping it.
You were into it, yeah.
And for him to like, I mean, no disrespect to you, right?
I found,
but when he's like. I messed with Artie Lange. It just threw me off. And I hung out with him. I connected with him maybe like 3 years ago, and I was like, man, I want to hang out with the Ghetto Boys.
Right.
I want to do some
Ghetto. I was going to say, how did you meet them? Were they a fan of yours?
The way I met Scarface, I was doing a show. I was at the Houston Improv, right?
Right.
And it was a light audience. It wasn't that big. A lot of people there.
Was this like pre-Chappelle show or during?
No, this was like post-Chappelle. But it was like one of those off nights for me.
Yeah.
It was like a Wednesday. It was a light crowd. And it was this guy, kind of chubby guy, and sitting in the inside of performance space.
See, I think about him. He lost weight. He got the stomach thing.
Yeah,
so you don't recognize him.
He won't say the stomach thing.
Well, that's what he told me.
He said he's vegan. He told you off camera.
He admitted it to me, though. When I became his N-word, he admitted that.
Oh, yeah. That's when you admit to people you have cosmetic surgery. Since you're my N-word, I wanted to tell you I had a nose job.
It's all a con.
Yeah, but it was so funny because he's in the audience. I didn't know who he was. I was like, and I'm in the audience messing around. I was like, yo, yo, anybody ever tell you look like you Scarface, old Scarface looking dude? And it was Scarface. Somebody said,
him, yeah.
that is Scarface. I was like, you not Scarface. Do Scarface, right? I told him to do Scarface. He was like, what you mean I'm Scarface and blah, blah. And I was like, that's Scarface. And we became friends after that.
God bless him, because he says he golfs all day. He's going to retire. He says he can't take the road anymore. Me and him were bitching about the road. And then we got to the airport in Cleveland. We had a nice lunch together. And he was vegan. And he's trying to tell me, he goes, you got to get the stomach thing done. I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready for that yet. But he barely ate. You know, it's unbelievable.
He's not Ghetto Boy anymore. I think he should change his name to his, as we say, your government name. Because, like, I know it was like maybe 15, 20 years ago when they were like, Ghetto Boys were like popping. So for me to get connected with him, I'm thinking the things that he used to do back in the day.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm hanging out with Scarface. I'm like, I'm about to ride on these hoes. You know what I mean? I'm about to bust shots and everything, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna put some trees in the air. I'm thinking I'm just gonna do everything Ghetto Boy. This is a true story, man. I don't know what it's gonna do to my fan base, right? So I'm thinking I'm getting ready to smoke with the Ghetto Boys.
Right.
We about to bang on them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We about to get it pop and turn up. This is a true story, whatever. I tried to light a joint. He damn near pulled the car over.
Really?
He was like, what are you doing? We gonna go to jail.
No kidding.
I'm like, what happened to this week? Halloween came on the weekend. I thought we were supposed to be trick-or-treating.
He's like, I got a tea time at 9 o'clock.
You can ask him. You can call him, Artie. Like, he pulled the car. He was like, yo, dude, you gonna do the jail time? I knew I wasn't gonna do the jail time. I said, I would do it.
Yeah.
I knew I wouldn't do it. and then he told me, he said, drop me off. I'm gonna go get my feet done.
Oh, man. See,
Do you know how it feels?
Become a celebrity, man.
Do you know how it feels to grow up on Ghetto Boys? You think you about to bang it up?
Well, speaking of that.
And then your man tells you he wants to get a petty? I said, you can't be my N-word no more after that.
Well, he's not. You know, I got to call him about that, too. Now, speaking of that, though, about like when Chappelle's show hit, people forget, like, you guys were rock stars, man. Like, you were really, like, how well did he get on the road? Like, what were you doing?
It was. We did well on the road,
right?
But the worst thing about it was because my voice was the catchphrase at the end of every show.
So the audience would go nuts. Yeah,
they would go nuts.
Yeah,
but they would go nuts in other environments that I didn't need them to go nuts in.
Listen, because of the Stern Show, I can relate. It really gets annoying.
It gets especially when that bill shows up, because the bill would show up and they wouldn't even look at anybody else. They just slide it over to me, right?
Yeah,
I'm like, whoa. They'd be like, I thought you said you was rich, bitch. You know, so, you know, it was some positive to it, but that was one of the negatives we had to catch.
You know, we got to take a break, because I had the same thing. I want to ask you if some neighborhood guys came out of the woodwork. I talked to Chris Rock about this one night at the Cellar, and it was it's true, like, I had this too. Neighborhood guys come out of the woodwork, and before you know it, you're buying guys' teeth. I want to take a break. Donnell Rawlings is here. Back after this.
The Artie Lange Show, weeknights on Audience, only on DirecTV.